Hi guys, I am back. First things first, my special, it's out. Watch it. If you haven't watched it, what's wrong with you? It's called Take Care. It's on YouTube. Guess what? It's $0. If you haven't seen it, please do it. And if you have, say something about it. Like it and comment on it. And this is probably the most important part of the engagement process. Subscribe to the channel. That's what's going to let me eventually get monetization for it. And as annoying as it sounds, these things matter. So hit that subscribe. You don't have to be bothered with anything. Like you're not going to get inundated with fucking, all kinds of photos and videos and shit all day, every day. It's not like Instagram or TikTok or something. Hit the subscribe, share it around. I mean, it's free. So like that's the one thing that can be sort of exchanged for it, is some kind of engagement that helps me amplify the thing. And that's all I'm going to say about it. So I feel better having it out of my system, this like thinking about it and the editing and the like, just all the nuts and bolts and just the little pieces that go into making something like this. And my brain feels like a little bit more cleared up. It's still bummer in a lot of ways. Like when you like work on something for so long and then you finally like let it go, you just feel like you're drifting and you don't, so it just is a matter of like finding the next thing or things to sort of like dive into mentally and creatively and stuff. I am happy with it. A lot of things came together and really made this thing work in a way that I couldn't have done a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, and definitely before that. It was just there was no way to put something like this together, and for what it cost too. It wasn't going to happen. So I am aware of that, and I'm super fortunate to have been able to have all the help and just like being connected with like really talented people. And I don't know, it was really cool. It was one of the most stressful things I've ever done, but it was cool. And here's hoping that it does something, that it like just gets a lot of eyeballs on it. And that's what you ultimately hope for, is you are able to make something, able to release it, and have it have an effect. I just went on Ron Funches's podcast, Getting Better. Watch that, listen to that. You have both options there with his podcast. It was really cool. It was like, it's called Getting Better, and we just basically talk about our outlook on like life and through the process of like bettering our physical and mental and emotional selves and stuff. So it's like earnest, but it's, it was funny at times, and it was just a good conversation. Ron's a really good guy, and he's really hardworking and successful and has like a good outlook on stuff. So that was fun. And then there'll be some more podcast appearances like in relation to this kind of rolling out as the months go on. I'm back in Brooklyn right now for a couple weeks, and then on the road, and then back to LA eventually, do some more podcasts. Let's talk about the LA trip. That was an interesting one this time, because for the last few years, I haven't been excited about going back home to LA for any real reason. And it's still home. This is home. That's home. They're both home. They'll always be home. It just... I fucking have this like cloud that like immediately just like in Peanuts, where I forget the character, where he's always just got a storm cloud over him. He's walking around. That's me in Los Angeles. Lionel? Is that the guy? Yeah, there's just always like a storm cloud, which is funny for a city like LA, which never has any storms ever, with the exception of the last couple months where there's been a bunch of rain and snow. And I'll tell you this, by the way, the snow like down like south of like Glendale into LA, that's not that common. But people are taking pictures of the San Gabriel Mountains like way up, like above the 210 and stuff. That's not that uncommon. I've seen snow covering those mountains 24 times in my life. So it's not like that part's not rare, but they're like, since when has there ever been snow behind downtown, with those long range shots where they show downtown and then mountains behind it, to where it sort of doesn't look like Los Angeles, one of those trick shots. Yeah, that's happened a bunch. I mean, you go up Angeles Crest. That's my first and only experiences with snow as a kid, were going up there with our shitty little sleds up into Angeles Crest. And yeah, just going like, sledding in like 2 inches of snow and stuff. Ricky, shut up. Okay. It's funny, he rarely barks, and when he does, it's just like, makes you think the fucking universe is exploding and he's trying to warn me. Hey, sit down right here. Sit your ass down. Can't you see I'm recording a podcast, you dummy? He just turned 11 or 11 and a half. He's slowing down, man. He doesn't need to be run around 3 miles a day, but he's just like tired a little faster. He's just slower. He's getting his grays around his face. He still always wants to eat all the time, no matter what. Always looking for food. Always sniffing around. Where's the food? And with the new puppy, he's always trying to eat his food, and we're always trying to get him out of the crate. And those are the signs you want to see. Is your dog, even though he's getting older, is he still have regular energy, moving around? Is not lethargic, and does he want to eat and drink water? So as long as he's doing those things, he's gonna live forever. So he'll never die. Oh yeah, so the storm cloud that's over my head every time I go to Los Angeles. This was one of the first times where there wasn't. I think it was because I was going there for not a good reason, but I was going there to like promote the special and do some podcasts. I had some finished thing that I was like on the precipice of like putting out, and just being able to just like celebrate it in a way. So I think it was like good for that. And it very quickly turned back to not good. I was like, miserable. I just didn't want to, like be there, but it was still better. Every time I go back, it's still a little bit like more enjoyable. I felt a little better about it. And I think that's a step in the right direction. Not the direction of like, I want to, go back there full time, but it's something I was wondering, is that ever going to come back? Am I ever going to feel like I want to be back there, for any amount of time? And I think the fact that I started feeling the last time I went a little bit more, and then this time I felt sort of like fine with it, and I had a thing to be excited about. And like I've said before, I don't know, I part of like the work mentally I've been doing is to not like hinge everything on work and career stuff, because one thing that the COVID lockdown taught me is that what if you don't have it? What if you're not able to work for global pandemic reasons? What are you going to do? How are you going to find contentment or fulfillment or happiness in something outside of that? And I've had a little bit of that going into moving to New York. Was don't try and go up every night or every other night, and learn to make your mind okay with that. And that's part of the outlook with going back to Los Angeles. So went on a long bike ride. That was good. That always feels good out there. My rim broke. It's been cracking. Like my bike's 10 years old, 11 years old out there. And it's a Cannondale CAD 10, the one that I usually put in the photos with the 9-inch nails sticker on the Cannondale. So clever. No one else has done it. Fuck you. So I took that on a long ride. I did like 60 miles or something like that. And I was going to do more, but like you could feel the rim just sort of like do that wobbly thing that usually happens if a spoke is broken or loose. But in this case, the spoke was broken because where it connects to the fucking rim was broken. So there was no way to fix the spoke. I have to get a whole new rim. And I obviously wasn't going to, spend any amount of time or money like trying to figure that out on this trip. So I was like, all right, well, just the one bike ride for me. I'll figure something else out because I want to be able to have that like just old kind of, not beater bike, but like just an old bike to be able to take on, 30, 40 plus mile rides out there, because that's super important to me. It's like to be able to just ride out to the ocean and just kind of feel that, and then ride up the coast and all that stuff is huge for me. Huge. So I was happy I could do that. And what's the other thing? The other thing was I always like the food, obviously, like the home cooked, like parents' food, Lebanese food, and the Mexican food. It's like there's a part of me that I just have to have that. And honestly, we can debate this, but the burgers in Los Angeles are better than New York. You would think that doing like traditional-ish burgers you'd find plenty of those in New York, but New York has more of those like super high-end burgers. I don't know why that is the majority of what you find when it comes to like good quality burger places, but that's what there is. It's like these, super thick patties with like one or two ingredients, and it's all about like the beef quality and like some like buttery brioche bun. And you're like, I guess that's a burger, but I want like the equivalent of a good In-N-Out style or like Gold Burger or places like that, or Fat Burger or something. There should be like 7 or 8 of those out here. That style, not those exact places, but, and if there are and I don't know, let me know. I've tried Blue Collar, which is in Brooklyn. There's a couple of them. It's fine. We can do better. And if there is better, point me to it. I want to try it. It would be good to have like a go-to burger spot. Starting to write new material. I don't know what I want to do with the next the next like hour or whatever you want to call it. I got a couple ideas for like, I want to do like a 1-person show about like more identity stuff, ethnic identity, immigration stuff. I gotta get that off the ground somehow. I gotta figure that out. And then just writing new stand-up material. And man, I'm feeling, I don't know, just weird about like opinionated stand-up, because it's just, everything's so fragmented and divided, and you just see people performing to their own crowds. The Chris Rock special felt like a sigh of relief in a way, because he was just able to go at the, what do you call it? Selective outrage people and victim culture and all that sort of stuff in a really intelligent, very Chris Rock way, where he breaks it down bit by bit so us idiots can understand it, because he's smarter than all of us. And it was nice. It was like, I watched the special live. It was like nice to see. It was a sort of return to form. I like Tambourine a lot. I know that got mixed reviews, but it was like slowed down. It was more personal. It was like, it was very engaging. I really liked it. And I like this one too. Like he went after what is going on in our culture without playing to a demographic or just doing any shock value humor, which is like great. And you could tell he meant it, and I hope there's more of that, because I want to be able to just talk about what I want to talk about. And just not have to, just dealing with the fucking idiots that are on the internet and, are just, everyone's so polarized just one way or the other. And I don't want either extreme. I don't want to listen or deal with them. And, you do a bit on one thing and it's just either you're the worst piece of shit who's ever lived, or just no one cares because it's not extreme enough. And I mean, short term, great. That's good for clicks, but that's not good for like artistic legacy. Fuck that, dude. Like, I don't have time for that. I don't want to do that. I think it's a waste. And I guess the challenge is just finding a way to do it and not just have, morons in middle America just, screaming fucking lib or whatever the hell. I don't know. No one thinks, man. No one, when you see like everything is, nothing's to be believed anymore. There's no more truth. We're post-truth. Everything is, I don't believe that because there's a place I can go to that will believe what I already think. Everything's a fucking echo chamber now. And you're almost just like, what is the point? Like, what is the point of anyone being called out for lying, or what's the point in like discovering the truth when no one has to tell it anymore? Like, and everything's a conspiracy and everything is, it has more than one side where in some cases, yeah, there's, more than one side to each story. But like when it comes to science and shit, you're like, you don't get to just make up your own science. Like, go find what the consensus is, what legitimate scientists think about something, and go from that. Not just like I listened to some podcast and the guy was like, well, I heard that the vaccine's making you sick, so, okay. And then you find no legitimate scientists that say it is, but you still think that way because maybe the pharmaceutical companies are hiding something from it, or they're like all greedy. Yeah, great. They're greedy. That doesn't prove anything beyond that, just they're greedy. So are the fucking podcasters that are like selling you snake oil. They're greedy too. Their greed is a lot of times for attention. And a lot of times for money. They're selling you like subscriptions to something or like some fucking supplement or whatever the fuck. But those like maniac conservative anti-everything people are like, they're dumb. Like you can't just, like, you see footage of like January 6th and they go, oh, the guy, whatever, the guy that was wearing the horns and had the face paint on or whatever. There was like footage of Capitol Police like moving him around or walking around with him, and they go like, yeah, the Capitol Police led him around the entire time. I mean, I don't know that a couple of clips of that are really going to just all of a sudden mean that the entire insurrection was fake. That's not how it works. But people will see a clip and then go, my entire theory is the truth. Or one thing that drives me nuts is when people see a clip of something and they go, or just like a blurb, just a sentence or two, and they go, huh, really makes you think. You're like, no, that you're not thinking yet. You had a thought. That's right before thinking starts. You have one thought, then think it out. Don't just post the blurb or the clip and go, see? No, think it through. Talk it out. But it's just like everybody's arrived at their conclusion, and who wants to bother anymore? Why even tell these fucking morons who are screaming about drag shows in the South and the trans movement and the who's telling the truth in our government and the pharmaceutical companies, all this? They've already decided they're going to take the most extreme position so they can drum up subscribers and make a bunch of money And the odds are they don't believe it either. It's all coming out with Fox News and Tucker Carlson now. And it's like, gee, what a fucking surprise. And their supporters will still find a way to believe it. There's no point in exposing the truth to any of those dipshits, because they're just going to build a conspiracy around that. I mean, the fact that conspiracies and distrust of the government were able to lead to the insurrection with these maniacs, and then they kept going with the nothing is real, nothing is true movement, circling all the way back to the insurrection itself isn't real. They're the same people that thought it was. It's just, it's crazy. I don't know. My camera cut out. If you're listening on audio, none of this has affected you, but both my cameras have cut out. And if I was a moron, I would go, makes you think. Doesn't it make you think? And then cease to think right after that. Fucking idiots. Just, all right. I don't know. I honestly have no fucking clue what happened. That's really weird. Both cameras just died. Is this what I get for using OBS, the free podcasting software? Is this what I get? Should I have stuck with fucking Ecamm? No, because they charge a lot of money. Fuck them. Look, I mostly just wanted to get that stuff off my chest and to talk about my emotional connection with Los Angeles. And of course, to remind you to watch and like and subscribe and blah, blah, blah to the YouTube channel where my special is for free. You're welcome. Okay. Whatever.
It's
Bye.
the end of the show. Like, subscribe, and comment. Don't be a dick.